Alright, MA Marignon, turn 42, might be losing our Pretender, might be losing a stack. Not to worry, it is all part of the plan. There's a throne claim. This looks like it's from Ariu, so that is nice for them, and not too much of an issue for us. We have some remote site searching, which misses, naturally. We miss with another manual site search, however, our rainbow does not fail us. This is on top of a throne, so, as far as throne provinces go, kind of a modest haul, but we will take it. We take control of some province somewhere. Yeah, this looks like it's against Ashdod. They look like, they're not really bothering to leave any province defense anywhere. And then it looks like we do not actually get attacked by Bandar, so it looks like our Pretender is not going to get tested. Yeah, this is our Paladin thug group moving out. Speaking of thugs, okay, well, we're not planning on going up against both of his thugs, so that could be a bit of a problem. But I mean, right? This is the situation we wanted in theory. So we cast anti-magic, that's good. So, our magic resistance is at a mighty 15, which is not fantastic. And then, let's see, some cheat fate, of course, not on our paladins. They did at least get Gift of the Hair, and it looks like they didn't get the protection buff on them, naturally, because the mages are casting it on themselves. This is just hard to get the buffs to target, but, at least, Solar Eclipse went off, and we got luck on one of the paladins. And then, these guys are doing their buffs. They're going to be real dangerous. And, that's the danger of, waiting for the buffs. Also, we should have sent the flagellants in immediately. That was definitely a mistake. So we're not going to get any help there. And, our paladin gets deleted. So that was Blood Vengeance. And then, of course, they had no cover. This doesn't work out for us, sadly. You can see that, it was close. It was definitely pretty close, and, this guy lost an arm. He's at least, somewhat messed up now, and we're pretty unlikely to be able to finish him off with the flagellants, especially considering that, he has regeneration. It's not impossible, but, you can see it's not really working out for us, and, of course, the flagellants aren't going to love the Blood Vengeance. This will at least ensure, well, I don't know about ensure, but it's more likely that we're going to get some afflictions, because we're at least dealing some damage. And then our communion is just doing silly things. This guy's blinking himself around. Our Grandmaster, there's some hope. He is set to advance and cast spells, but yeah, of course he's just they love casting Rage. I guess there are two of them. Yeah, okay, so now he's routing. That did not work out for us. This guy at least got petrified? No, he just got paralyzed, so he will wake back up, and we might, no, it looks like our Grandmaster's gonna escape. So yeah, more thugs? I don't know, with full penetration gear, maybe the Soul Slay is the answer. Probably Soul Slay with the Paladins. We didn't really have any cover for our paladins. The idea was to use the flagellants to try to soak some of their attacks, but of course messed up the timing on that. I was a little concerned we were going to run into some province defense, and so I didn't want to send the flagellants in before we turned out the lights, because they just died everything. But yeah, obviously this is bad news. We can print more of the paladin thugs, but it's going to take us a second to get them in position, and that's a good amount of gold and gems that we lose. Let's see if our Grandmaster, at least retreated successfully, so that's good. And all of our casters retreated successfully, so that is nice. And of course, we don't actually get attacked this turn by the thugs, so we don't lose a province. And then speaking of losing provinces, our knights are able to raid this away, and I believe there's an unforted temple here, which we will knock down. So we burn down a temple. That is very nice. Then we catch a battle between Pangea and Abyssia. So, and maybe some magic resist gear. I don't know. Is it worth putting even more investment into the paladins? How likely are we able to resist the Blood Vengeance ever? So, this is just a White Centaur raiding group. They were able to get blessed. Fairly substantial bless. It's been a little while. You can't ignore regeneration. A little while since we've seen Pangea's bless. So, of course, they're definitely going to be able to take out this level of province defense. And I imagine there will be, no losses. So, completely competent raiding there from Pangea. And another reason that, maybe we want to start moving on Abyssia. Of course, we're busy failing against Bandar. And like, yeah, this is extra dangerous for our army because like that was our anti-thug tech that just got wiped out, and our army doesn't even have that. So yeah, our crossbowman rating is working out against 1 PD. Very nice of Bandar, to not contest this really. They probably have some money problems since they aren't that large, and you always know it's a well-planned attack when you have some starvation, so that's not good. But let's take a look at some of our unexpected events. Hey, this is a nice one on top of our capital, a little bit of gold. We do like that. Wow, this is incredibly lucky. So we gain a fort and a ton of province income. So yeah, this must be a place where our scales haven't arrived yet, I feel. I don't know if this is a useful place for us to have a fort, but I mean, at the end of the day, you can't complain about a ton of province income and another fort. So we will take that. Yeah, this is looking a little more normal with the vengeful crones, and some barbarians have decided to join us, at least the chiefs, and like now we have a magic site that lets us recruit barbarians, which we probably won't do because barbarians aren't fantastic. And then we patrol out an Airyu scout, and then we lose a scout on top of Bandar. So he was patrolling, and this looks like it probably was everything, I'm guessing. So let's take a quick look. And although the province defense seems low, I'm not sure where this is. So yeah, you can see like these sacreds, like they're just, I mean, they got the blood vengeance, right? Like that's the main thing. And I mean, the regeneration, I guess, but not really, because they're just naked and they have like a kick. They're a standard. Like I don't even think they're not really meant as like main, frontline combat. I don't know. It's an interesting strategy, but it will be painful for us since we have relatively low, magic resistance. But yeah, like he didn't bring out a lot of mages, right? So like I was pretty worried about, magic duel and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, that could still happen, right? Because I think wherever this is, this is probably to try to catch like our Knights of the Chalice raiding group. And there wasn't a large stack of, mages with that group, so, he doesn't really need to bring his mages out to do any magic duel or anything like that. So it will be interesting to see, like, what kind of response, because now we have an army next to one of his forts, so now does he patrol, like, with a ton of mages? But, like, he's at least attempting to, block our raiding on top of his forts, so I'm glad that I didn't choose to raid into that, because, like, yeah, our knights are pretty good, but don't think they could have taken all this with just 8 of them. And then, yeah, Tianchi has like a decent amount of stuff in here, and we are definitely in danger of losing this if they choose to ride out. Yeah, we don't really have much to stop them, so we're going to need to do some recruitment regardless, and this kind of works out because we can use the army that we recruit to break and take this fort, and then we will have a backup army for the one that we might lose due to starvation and or thugs. So yeah, I'll catch you guys after the jump. All right, this is the situation and what we're doing about it. Not the best turn. I think probably the biggest thing is we are going to gamble. Starvation be damned. We've talked this to death. It's definitely going to be painful. It might be a mistake. Troop-wise, like we're already starting to do recruitment, right? Because we're anticipating losses. So, we're getting more infantry, we're getting more crossbowmen, we're getting more knights. So the idea is that we can relatively quickly replace our losses, and with Gateway, we can actually, move them over to the conflict area pretty quickly, or, if some neighbor catches this and decides they want to come after us, we can respond to that with Gateway as well. Really, probably the biggest thing is not sure I need to risk this many Grandmasters, and like they don't really have any Soul Slay kit yet, and these are our Astral 3 guys who are maybe not our most useful, but more useful. Like probably would have been better to risk these Fire 4 fellows, but of course, like they're gonna age out and die anyway, so it's kind of like they do have a limited shelf life, and we have enough Astral boosters now that even our Astral 2 guys can bring in our summons for air, and we do have an Astral 3 like tucked away, so we're not risking all of our Astral 3s. It also didn't really look like Bandar, at least not this turn, they didn't bring out any mage support, so our mages will be much safer if that's true. Blood Vengeance is still going to be a problem for them. The other nice thing about attacking this turn is like, there's a bunch of people trying to keep eyes right on this whole situation, and like everybody just lost a bunch of scouts due to this like massive massive patrol. Now, they might have scouts like real close, right? We have scouts real close by, so it's possible that they'll see this battle, but this is about as good of a moment as we're going to get. So, like, if we're going to take a massive loss, this is the most likely moment that no one else is really going to see it. So there's something to be said for that. So anyway, that's in the south. We're sitting on top of this fort. We do not have the siege strength, not even close. I feel like this fort is just, absolutely filled to the brim with stuff like this. We may have to give this up, especially if we take a massive loss. But if we don't take if we actually win this battle, or it's close enough, we can use this secondary force that we're recruiting, right, and send it down to actually give us the siege strength to crack this and take it. I have not talked to Tianchi yet, so we'll see. I don't know. It's like, do we really need to discuss? I have a feeling we can see that this fort got unlocked, and that there's significantly fewer Bakemono of all variety in this adjoining province. So I'm assuming there was a failed storm here. It's possible that he jumped off. But yeah, so it's entirely possible that we get knocked off, right? That, Tianchi is just going to heavily defend his forts, which I totally respect. And, he's going to come out and bounce us off, which wouldn't be the end of the world. This is another Grandmaster, and yeah, it wouldn't be great. But we'll see, right? It does depend on what exactly is in the fort, which we really have no idea at this point. And at least for the moment, we're going to risk it. It does look like Shiniyama, right? They have kind of, not their hands full, but they at least have something else they can focus on other than, this one fort that I'm sitting on top of. Full mage recruitment this turn, although some of that are initiates, because we really can't afford Grandmasters everywhere in all of our forts. And we've talked about how the initiates may have their uses, so we're definitely going to mix in plenty of initiates. I have come to accept this. We weren't going to mess with these Anakites because I felt they had an ill look about them, and sure enough, after I'd submitted the turn, area was like, yeah, don't go in the second forest, because there's a bunch of death dropping on top of those Anakites, which was already kind of my suspicion. And that is one of the provinces that we agreed to let Ariu have, so we're not going to mess with it. It's possible those because you're going to get magic phased on, so yeah, those Anakites are probably going to disappear, which means, yeah, this move, I think we're just headed back. Because we can't actually connect with our territory over this direction. So we're going to keep moving that force over towards Mictlan, and then we're just splitting out a few knights. Well, okay, too many knights, really. And I didn't do any blessing. Oh well, forgot to change this fellow's script. This turn is already rolled, so can't change these orders. But that's okay. They should be able to take out villains. Of course, anytime you're leading it with a dude in robes, there's always a chance that he'll get sniped. And also, Ariu was like, what's up with the vampires? And I was like, that's definitely your problem. Although, it might actually be our fault from our misfortune scales. That said, this is Ashdod. There's a lot of misfortune. We're not the only person, there's a little misfortune here too. So, it's not guaranteed our fault, but it could be. And then we're going to pull our crossbowmen raiders back in, and the other big thing is we're going to try to push forward and capture this province. We're kind of hoping, right, we're bringing forward our pretender. This is pretty risky, especially because this is a fairly low dominion province. It's at least our dominion, so that's good, but risking our pretender, especially without full gear, is not fantastic. But I think we're bringing enough stuff here. I don't know, we'll see. We have one more Kamikaze Paladin. Speaking of the Kamikaze Paladins, if you'll indulge me, take a look at my path to failure here. First of all, we're not that far off. We did almost kill one of them, and the other thing is I kind of messed up my point buffing here, so we're gonna see, right? And I knew this was a risk. And the mage, he point buffs himself first, right? So here's luck on the mage square instead of the paladin square. So I think the key is to actually it's one paladin and one mage in the same square, and I think that's going to be much more likely to get the point buffs on the paladins. It will cost a little more in terms of mages, but I think it's worth it. And the other big one, Cheat Fate, right, went on, again, the mage stack. And I think if both of our paladins had both of those buffs on them, I think we probably would have gotten one kill, whether or not we would have gotten two, because we do end up getting luck on one of the paladins. But luck on one paladin versus luck and cheat fate on both, where cheat fate is really kind of almost more important, I think, in these really high damage thug, counter thug v thug battles, right? Because who gets that first and second hit is so important. So if the first hit they manage to get gets canceled out, that's a pretty big swing. Now, of course, that said, the Blood Vengeance is a serious problem, and, we knew that was going to be the case. We can see we did get anti-magic up here, right? But like 15 just doesn't really look like it's enough, because we definitely had one guy get popped by the Blood Vengeance. So anyway, we should have a slightly better setup here for this battle. Right, where we do have a mage in the same square as our one paladin, so only one paladin, but we have enough other elements here. And then we're making more gear, some of it without hammers, sadly. But we're switching it slightly. I mean, it's mostly the same, but I think we're going to trade out the attack item for an amulet of anti-magic, because especially I think with Solar Eclipse, I don't think we're really going to need the boost on the attack. We'll see. I could live to regret that. Those thugs do have fairly high defense, and our attack skill is not fantastic, but I'm hoping with Solar Eclipse should bring it down close enough. The Blood Vengeance was obviously super nasty, so hopefully between the amulet of anti-magic and casting anti-magic, we won't explode immediately in the first hit. It's like I said, I knew that those guys were going to be kind of kamikaze, but I was hoping, they'd get at least a few more hits before they exploded. So yeah, I think that more or less covers it. I guess research-wise, that's globals. Research-wise, we will hit enchantment 6 next turn. Unfortunately, our pretender is not going to be in a lab because he's, busy trying to deal with Bandar's situation. But assuming he doesn't die here, fingers crossed, we'll send him back to a lab. He'll forge the booster that we still need, and then we'll cast Eternal Pyre for a relatively close to minimum casting. So we're probably going to sit for a few turns on our fire income. I think that if you're going to put up a global and you want to keep that global, probably the first thing you should do is ensure that you have a bank so that if someone overcasts it, you can attempt to immediately or very quickly, overcast it yourself. Because if you let them have it for a while and build up that stock of gems, it's going to be very difficult for you to get it back. So we're probably still, 5 or 6 turns out at least before we really start to get a ton of money. I do think that overall this plan with the imprisoned nature of it, it's been very slow to come online, right? We're probably about halfway through this game at this point, roughly. And it's going to be, another probably 8 turns. So let's say generously, we'll have the plan up halfway through the game, which I think can be fine, right? Depends on the plan, but this is turning fire gems into gold, which isn't, I don't know, I'm not sure it's going to be an amazing late game strategy. So I think we might have missed the window, or will miss the window at which would be most effective. We'll see. It's not that I think it's going to be bad. It's just that I think it might be better to cut a little from the bless to get a dormant pretender that can maybe cast this without the need for construction 6. But anyway, it is what it is, and I am still looking forward to it, and I think that covers turn 42.